Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Mike Putnam. I have only met Mike once. I met him, oh gosh, it might have been 6 months ago, perhaps. And so many things have changed in my life since I met him. And there's a lot for us to break down because he is actually a real runner. I'm kind of a runner by happenstance, but he is a true runner, and he is well, I'll break it down now, but he runs many Keller Williams offices. So welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Debbie, for having me.
So excited to have you here. So excited to chat with you. So Mike is a husband to Jayme, who he's known since they were 2 years old, and father to Jack and Max, his twin 11-year-old sons. He's a mountain climber, and the current goal of touching the tallest point in every state in the United States. Wow. He has recently achieved number 49 by reaching the summit of Mount Rainier and over 14,400 feet in Washington state. He leads multiple businesses, including one of the largest real estate brokerages in California. He's a partner in a mobile home park investment and management company that operates in multiple states. He is also a coach, facilitator, and consultant specializing in leadership development and process implementation. Wow, that's impressive. So, beyond running, you are a mountain climber.
I wouldn't even consider myself much of a runner. I like to walk up steep things. That's my thing.
Okay, wow. So, do you want to run Mount Everest or not
I've
run?
been asked that a
Hike.
lot. Anybody that runs that's crazy, first of all. I've been asked that so many times, and I don't know if the answer is yes or no yet. And the main reason is it's so alluring because it's the tallest mountain on earth, obviously.
Right.
And yet, when you actually dig into the logistics of it, the time spent on it, the conga line is what I call it, that goes up a certain section of the mountain where there might be
Yeah.
600 people back to
Really.
back, just like so
Yeah.
slow. And I'm more
Yeah.
scared of people than I am the mountains. And so I don't know that I want to be in that line for so long. So I'm not sure is the answer yet. There's a lot of other
Yeah.
mountains that are just as cool.
It seems like it would be really hard to just be at the mercy of who's in front of you and who's behind you. It
Yes.
seems quite scary. So I always like to start the episode with, when you were growing up, did you know where you'd be today? And then give us a little bit where you're from, your background, and how you got to where you are today.
You know, I had no idea. And I mean, I changed directions in high school and college. I was pre-med for a while. I was pre-law for a while. And then ultimately I said, how do I just go and do what I want to do and have a little bit more control of my own destiny? And so no, I had no idea. I mean, I didn't even know where I was going to be until yesterday. So I have no idea what I thought back then. The one thing that comes to mind though is my dad shared this with me not too long ago that his mom who passed constantly would remind him like, hey, do you remember when Michael was like 6 years old and he would see a picture of a mansion on a magazine or this or that, and he said, I'm going to have that someday. And so I think there's always been a
Wow.
drive for that type of success, and yet the
Yeah,
pathway to it has changed so many times. I've had no idea where I was going to end up.
that's awesome. So where did you go to college, and then how did you progress in your career?
I went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, lived there for a few years. After having six roommates for a while, one of them dealing drugs out of the house and others being just crazy people, I decided I was going to move to Costa Rica for a while. So I did that. I went down there in order to just get away from the craziness of that lifestyle, to go surf, to go learn Spanish. Spent a few months down there, then came back, immediately moved out. And there's a story behind that, if I may. It's really short. However,
Yeah.
apparently, the night I was supposed to get home from Costa Rica to my roommates, they had a big party and my flight was delayed. So I ended up getting back a day later. The party got out of hand. Fights broke out. Windows were broken. People were threatened. People were hit with hockey sticks. And I said, it's been nice knowing you guys. I'm moving out the day I get back, and that's tomorrow. So that
Oh
caused me
my
to move to
goodness.
Pismo Beach, which I am so grateful for because I ended up having the best time of my college career down there with just one roommate, the surf right outside my window, and really enjoying the atmosphere there while still going to get my international business degree from Cal Poly. So I did that for
Nice.
college. However, I bounced between two junior colleges before that. I was an athlete in high school, and I had this inkling that I might want to play college sports. So at the first junior college I went to in my hometown of Redding, California, I talked to the coach, I talked to the football team, and I was going to be able to walk on, maybe play a little bit, and then it was a decision. It was play football and probably be stuck here in this town for another year to two at least, or go get some jobs, go to school, get enough credits so I can move to Cal Poly or San Luis Obispo. it ended up being a really easy decision. So I made that move. And then when I graduated, I didn't know what to do. So I went to Europe for 2 months to kind of
Oh,
find myself,
nice.
if you will. So I did that. And then my girlfriend, who's now my wife, who I've known since I was 2 years old, came over for the last 5 days I was in Europe. I came back with her. I immediately moved back to my hometown to just get as many jobs as I could to earn enough money to go and move to be where she was. And when I got there, I said something very specific. I said, Jayme, you've got me for 2 years here. I got to get back to the ocean. So let's figure out a way to make that happen. And that was 24 years ago, and I still live in the same place. So my plan did not work out the way I had intended. And that's okay. It's
I would
great
say
where it is.
most people, yeah, most people have that pivot and adjust, as I call it, and things just kind of go a different way. So tell us, when did you get into real estate, and did you work as an agent before you started managing companies? And what was that like? And what is the hardest thing about managing people as well?
Oh, I'll come to that part last. So yeah, out of college, I didn't have a career, if you will. So I went and got two jobs, and one was at Home Depot, and one was at a gym where my girlfriend worked and was able to get me a job really quickly as a personal trainer. I left Home Depot after 2 days, and I put all my energy into the gym. And I went to the president's office after about a month and said, "Hey, I'm going to be a director in this company." It was a pretty big health club chain. So I'm going to be a director in this company in the next 6 months. Show me the pathway. And within 6 months, I was leading that department. I did that for about 5 years. And then the last 2 years of it, I was miserable. We had sold half the company to a venture capitalist group. The culture changed, the leadership changed. It went from family and support to fear and numbers. And I said, how do I actually go control my own destiny? And it was real estate seemed like an easy choice. It's not, and it seemed like it. So I jumped into real estate in 2011, December of 2011, and started off as an agent. Was immediately recruited to a team, the number one team in the country at the time, based out of Roseville, California. And it was great. They were supportive. They threw a lot of resources at it, and yet it just didn't feel right. So I went back solo for a while and struggled. And the main reason I struggled, Debbie, was simply because I was treating it like a hobby and I was taking advantage of the
Mhm.
freedom and flexibility. I wasn't treating it like a career or a job within a
Yeah.
career. And so
Right.
I was introduced to somebody who I clicked with, and I actually reached out to them on a whim a little bit. And they said they knew who I was, and we got in a conversation. I flew to Portland, Oregon for a couple of days to spend some time with him and his team. And he wanted me to move to Oregon. And on a Friday night at about 8:30 p.m., he called me. I would just gotten back the day before. We had committed to talking on Friday. I didn't reach out. He didn't reach out. So at 8:30, it was actually 8:36. He called me and said, "So what are we doing? Are you coming to Portland?" And there was just some piece of me that it knew wasn't right. And we'll probably get to
Yeah.
this later. I'll just give you a little piece of it
Okay.
now. I was running from something personally. It was just me and my wife at the
Mhm.
time. We didn't have kids. I was on a downward spiral personally, and I knew it wasn't right. I was running away from something. My wife was supportive of it. It was a good opportunity, and yet it just didn't feel right. So I said no. And when I realized I was talking with a really great mentor, leader, potential partner, was when he said, "All right, well, let's talk about how we can build a business together there instead." And we
Oh,
started a team in Sacramento. And over the next 5 years, grew it to the largest expansion team in the entire country.
wow. And how that's incredible. And so, oh, that he saw something in you clearly. I love
We saw
that.
something
And
in each other, yeah.
yeah.
And we just
Do
had to
you
find the right
know
fit.
Do you know what it was, what he saw in you? Because you were treating your job like a hobby, like, I'm
Yeah,
in real estate, I'm gonna just do whatever, and I'm just gonna sell houses, it's just gonna happen. Like some people think who, don't realize it's an all day, 24-hour day job for the most part. But
yeah.
what was it you think that what he saw in you? Because, he was in Portland, then you were gonna now start with him a company in Sacramento. There must have been something he saw in you.
Well, I think this goes to that last part of that question you asked is the hardest part of managing people is when you don't take the time to get to know them and what they actually want,
Mm.
to figure out what their patterns are, and to figure out where they're going with that. And he did that with me. In fact, part of our process was him sketching out. It's a whole process we have at Keller Williams. He sketched out my history, my patterns throughout my life, and what he saw was this is his words, someone who has excelled in most of the things that they've endeavored to do, and yet also has this moment, usually within 3 or 4 years of that, that needs a challenge and needs a change. And so he
Oh.
saw someone that had a track record. He saw someone that had I believe, that has a pretty good heart, and has
Mhm.
had success in a lot of things, and just hadn't found the right one or partnered with the right people around it. So I think he saw a little bit of himself. I think he saw someone that was lost inside their life and lost inside of what they were after for that life. And he's got a big heart. He wanted to bring it back out. So that was, I
Uh,
think, what got us into business in the first place.
I love that. I think that's great, and I also think, I think we like to challenge ourselves. I think that and you were in, physical fitness, so he also saw that in you, and I do think and what is your I feel like people who are in sports, they excel at real estate. Do you have anything you want to share about people who are athletes and the correlation between being a good real estate agent? I don't know. I interview a lot of real estate agents, and they all seem to excel at different places too, whether that's golf or what you're doing, climbing mountains.
I think it could be anything, and yet it's funny that you mentioned that because actually in our agent profile that we had for our team before, so I was with that team. He and I were partners for 10 years, and I'm doing something different now. However, during that time, one of our profile for agents actually had on there a bullet point that probably played some form of competitive team sport.
Mm,
And the idea behind that was, and it could be anything. It could be you could be a master chess player, you could be a mountain climber,
right,
whatever it is. It's something that challenges you, that forces you to think critically, be resourceful, and support others. Like mountain climbing is not a solo venture most of the time. I'm tied to people
right,
half the time on the mountain, and so you're reliant on each other, and they're reliant on you. So I think the correlation is more, is it someone that was willing to put in the time and the commitment to do something at a high enough level to get gratification out of it and support the people around them to win? And unfortunately, there was plenty of times in my sport career through high school and before that that we didn't have a good team. I was the captain of a team that went winless one year, and that really sucked. That stuck with me. It still sticks with me today. And yet the lessons from it were probably more valuable than had we had an undefeated season. So
right.
I think that was a big part of it. The sports correlation for you is really just someone that
Yeah.
that commits to a process to win and be excellent, even if they're not winning all the time.
Right. I love it. It's so and so important. I believe in collaboration among agents of all companies, not just your own, and how helpful it is that we all collaborate so we help one another. So in your profile, you've talked a lot about this profile. Tell me what for me, recruiting is so hard. I meet someone and I'm like, oh, they're nice. Of course they should come work with us. I have now taken myself off of their recruiting. I want nothing to do with it because not every person is cut out to be a real estate agent and it takes a lot of hard work. So, what is your profile? And from that profile, do you say to some people, no, you're not a fit? Or do you do the profile and tell them what type of a personality they are and a person they are and how they could work? But break that down because I don't know anything about this profile.
Yeah, well, now it's changed over time for me as I've matured in my leadership or just age or whatever that might be. And really, I use the analogy, it's like a castle. Every one of the leaders I work with, and really just a quick side note, you mentioned collaboration amongst agents. Right now, there's 100 people sitting in the crowd in one of our offices, and there's 6 panelists, and they're all from different brokerages.
Oh, I
I
love it.
believe I believe that when we bubble ourselves with just the people that are around us, we lose so much opportunity for knowledge, for wisdom, for sharing
Right.
sake. So I just think that's important to point out, and I appreciate you saying that. It's
Yeah.
changed for me though. The castle analogy is all right. Culture must be maintained. If it is not maintained, it will deteriorate. And so that is what's
Mm,
inside your castle currently. It might not be the one you want, so you might have to drop the drawbridge and kick some people out of it. You also
I
raise
love
that
that.
drawbridge back up and don't let anybody in that doesn't fit the culture that you are trying to create or maintain. And so I think it's important. And when I'm coaching people or talking with our leaders, it's always, yes, it's a numbers game. In our model, we do need more agents in our world because of our capping model, sure. And at the same time, I will never sacrifice the culture for someone that brings revenue to the table and ruins that culture. So I think
Right.
it's a mix of things. You do have to have a I want everybody to come from a place of power, meaning I'm doing the right things, I'm looking for the right people, I'm attracting enough of the right people so I never have to feel like I have to say yes to someone who might sacrifice what I want or what we need. So that's a
Mhm.
huge part of the profile. And I think you get a read on people super fast. You mentioned it too.
Right.
They might be really nice or they might present well. However, I think looking at a resume is one thing. However, really having a conversation about that person, what they want, and how they go about getting that, and what they're willing to allow someone else to contribute to that, tells you more in 90 seconds than any other thing could. In fact, when I schedule interviews for leaders, I only put it on my calendar for 5 minutes, and I ask 3 questions. And by the end of those 3 questions, I know if I want to still talk to this person. And if I
Wow.
don't,
All
then
right.
it's very easy, very fast.
Yeah. Give us the 3 questions.
Number one, what is attractive about a leadership opportunity to you? What I'm digging into there. Now, by the way, I will, if they get through these three questions, it goes all about them and really, really deep with what they want. Number one, though, what's attractive about a leadership opportunity to you? I want to hear and I want to see if there's a BS meter going off in my brain around, do they actually like helping people? Do they really want to dive into what people want and then allow them the space and the resourcefulness with the support to go get that? That's number one. Then I ask a specific question, same vein though. What's attractive about this opportunity to you? Because that tells me if they actually care about it at all or if they're just trying to look for a job.
Mhm.
I don't need an employee or a job filler. I want a leader. I want someone who truly wants to make an impact for themselves first and then those around them, which then the business will benefit from that. And then question number three is what's the thing you're most passionate about? And
Mm.
that leads into every other question. They may not get through the first two questions. If I feel like it's just not there, I'm done. 4 minutes into the conversation, maybe 2 minutes. It's a, I don't think we're the right fit, and I'll maybe provide an opportunity or a connection for them, or I'll just cut it short. If they make it through the first two, question number three, what are you truly passionate about, leads to everything else we talk about. Because now
I
I can
love it.
actually dig into what they want. And then my job by the end of the first interview is to hopefully get them on a little bit more clear path and even an action item that they can do right then and there. So where if we don't ever talk again, they hopefully are better because of the conversation they had with me for 15 or 20 minutes.
And this is for leaders in or real estate
It
agents
applies
or
to everybody. Yeah,
okay,
you change the words a little bit for
okay.
agents or gosh, really anybody that I meet. And it's the same principle though.
I love it.
Like I don't want to meet someone and talk about the weather. I want to meet and talk
Yeah.
about what they really
Right.
care,
Oh
what are their
god.
values.
No.
Yeah.
So you're a coach, so you coach real estate agents, a lot of them. Um, when people come to you and you're sitting with them and they're like, "What do I do? Where do I start?" And then you start to give them ideas, and they say, "Well, I don't have time for that," or "I don't know how." How do you respond to those people? I mean, I hear, "I don't have enough time," and that's like nails on a chalkboard to me. When people say they don't have enough time, how do you help them?
I would flip that, Debbie, because if
Okay.
I'm giving them ideas, they're not owning them. So that means
Okay.
I'm in a consultant mode if I'm giving ideas. And that goes back to what is it that they truly want. If I can help them identify what they really want as a goal and what that
Okay.
goal means to them and what it means to their life, the people that they care about, their trajectory in career, whatever that might be, whatever is the motivating factor for them, then I'm going to move into where they currently stand. What are the things that have been standing in their way or could stand in their way? And then I'm going to ask them, what is it that you will and can do in order to move towards that goal? Because then I don't have any ownership of the actual activities themselves. I don't have any ownership of the ideas. It's all them. And that comes from a coaching belief that everybody's extremely creative and resourceful. They know the answer most of the time. They've just been
Yes.
blocked or haven't been thinking about it.
Right.
So, and by the way, there's plenty of times to be consultant too. It's just I won't start with that. And I'm
Right.
sure you've experienced it with your kids, with your
Yeah.
partners, with your agents, with anybody you might meet. When you tell them what they could or should be doing, the odds that they're actually going to go do anything with it are extremely small. And if they do, it's usually for a very short amount of time.
Right.
If you can tap into what they really want and then they come up with the answer of what they will do. And by the way, I don't care how small of a thing it is that they're going to do.
Right.
Yesterday, I talked to somebody and her commitment for today was to call two
Okay.
people that she hadn't been calling before. I said, okay, great. You're going to be two people ahead of where you are today. And then the next day, you're going to be four people ahead. You're going to be
Right.
fine because we can build off of that because you're choosing to do it because you think it's important, not me.
Right. Exactly. No, it's so important. So I want to talk about teams. So there are a lot of real estate agents are work on their own, and then there's some who work on teams. And how do teams work? How do why would someone want to work for a team if it's DiMaggio Betta Group, and why would they want to work under me and not be Mike Putnam?
Yeah.
How do you get around that? What's the benefit?
I can't speak for everybody. However, a common theme I've seen around people that join teams, stay with teams, want to be a part of a team is because they believe that the leader of that team, the structure of that team allows them to get what they want faster than they would get it on their own. They believe in a mission or a vision of that person and they're attached to that person. It's influence. You building
Okay.
a team oftentimes is based on what they believe about you and what you're going to be able to do for them. I'm a good example. I wanted to be solo because I didn't think I needed a team. I didn't want management. I wanted to just go do my own thing and I failed at it. I don't think I would today. However, I failed at it twice early in my career. I needed somebody who saw something in me, who had a
Mhm.
pathway that I could follow and would coach me to the things I wanted and then provide me the things that I needed. And so I saw that I could get to where I wanted to go faster with him than I could on my own. And so it was an easy decision for me. Now, with that said, there were plenty of times throughout our career together where I almost left. Like, I'm not getting enough value out of this. And this this is where a true mentor or friend or someone that will call you out on your bullshit is so important, because I met with the same guy 3 times, wasn't part of our team, 3 times over about a 12-month period of time, and said, I'm thinking about leaving the team. I'm not getting enough value, whatever excuses I was making. And his question was the same every time, and I'll omit the cuss word. It was, it was, are you putting in everything you should be putting in order to get out of it what you think you deserve out of it?
Mm.
And I had to like to ask that question again a couple of times because it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then when it finally clicked, it was no. And he would say, "Shut the f up and go back to work. Earn your way in when you're leaving." I was like, "Okay." The first time I heard it, I was like, "Fine, whatever." I went back and I did the same thing, and I came back 6 months later, "I'm thinking about leaving." "Are you putting in what you need to be putting in?" "No." "Shut the F up, go back to work." And finally, the 3rd time when he said it, it finally clicked, and I went to my partner and I said, "I'm tired of trying things my way. It's not getting me the results I want. I got into business with you to have more, do more, be more. Show me the path, I will follow it." And he moved from coaching to consulting in that moment, because consulting means I'm going to show you and tell you what to do.
'Cause
And
you
I
were
just did
ready.
it.
You were
I
ready.
was
You were
ready.
ready for it.
Exactly.
You
Like, had he
wanted it. You
tried that,
wanted it.
yes. Had he tried that 6 months prior, I would have said, "Nope, thank you. Bye-bye."
Right.
And instead it was, "I need it. I want it. Give it to me." He gave it to me and my business tripled in 12 months.
Wow. All right, we're gonna go to commercial break, and after we get back, I wanna hear some of the things, some of the tools he gave you so you could become successful and just rise like that. I love it. We'll be right back with Mike Putnam. Zach?
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant. Like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. You know, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here with Mike Putnam. So, as we left for commercial break, I wanted to talk about those things. You were talking about coaching versus consulting. And when you were ready to take more, you wanted to succeed. You were in the game, as I call it, mindset in motion. You were in it and you were ready. You were primed. So, what were some of those things your leader helped you and helped you implement or told you what to do? What were some of those great pieces of advice he gave you?
The best piece of advice he gave me was, I don't care what you do in the afternoon, because if you do the morning right, the afternoon will take care of itself. And
Love that.
it's from the one thing. It's, Gary Keller's big thing about knock out the most important things first, and everything else is
Yeah.
distraction until they're done. And I think that applies across all industries as well.
Yeah.
And I just remember that we were sitting in his car going to get salads at Whole Foods in Portland, Oregon, and he said that to me, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Now show me how to win the morning. Hal Elrod has his miracle morning. There's a bunch of people out there that teach and coach and preach about the right type of morning ritual. For me, it became, all right, I'm going to go I'm going to develop my skill set first thing in the morning. That could be role play, script practice, whatever it might be. And then I'm going to go right into creating new relationships. And that can be whatever you want it to be. Some people door knock, some people will do open houses, sphere of influence. I did expireds, I did for sale by owners, and I did internet leads, and then sphere on Fridays. And so the first hour and a half of the day, it was, how many new relationships can I get into today? Then it was an hour of, how do I foster the relationships that I've already got? And that can be called follow up if you want. It could also be sphere of influence touches. And I just became habitual around that. I needed accountability, so I reported every day on my progress, and it was slow. It took a while to build up. In fact, I track everything, and it was 14 months before that habit and the compound effect and the momentum built enough to where I could wake up every day on the first of the month and say, all right, I'll sell 2 houses this month as long as I stay alive and show up. And then 3 months later, I'll sell 4 houses this month as long as I stay alive and show up, because all those things took time to build up. So, really, the answer to your question was, go get really clear on how you're going to win the morning. Because
Hmm.
for most of us, that creates the momentum. Sure. It also takes this pressure off your shoulders and off your head that you've done the thing you need to do already. Everything else is gravy from this point forward on the day. It's like working out in the morning. Some people love it at night.
Hmm.
I can do it at night sometimes or in the afternoon sometimes. And yet, when I get my workout done first thing in the morning, the entire rest of the day changes for me. And
Right.
I apply that same principle to, let's go do the hard thing first, get it out of the way, because it creates everything else, anyways.
I love
That
it.
was the number
And
one thing.
no, I love it. My morning routine, I call it the lock-in method. I do 3 things: hydrate, meditate, vibrate. I'm always,
Love it.
drinking water to rehydrate after a long night or, sleeping. And then the
Yeah.
meditation, I get up very early, so I spend a lot of time on this. But I tell people 15 minutes is fine too, but I spend hours because I get up so early. And then the
Yeah.
vibration plate I really love for the lymphatic drainage and just and I'm always locked in with my headset. So I'm just listening to the music and the meditation, so that, starting out that way without the phone is so important. Just like you said, to start your day and working out is amazing. And then the thing that you said is so key. And so many agents, they're like, oh, what do I do? And they don't know what to do, especially when they're starting. It's like, build relationships. Oh, where do I meet people? I mean, I hear these excuses all the time. Get up in my book, Mindset and Motion, Activate Purpose, Power, and Peak Performance. I talk about getting up and getting out. Don't sit home, get out there and start interacting with people and meeting people. And
Yeah.
I would just love how you did. I wrote them all down. I just love what you were doing, and you just did it every day. Because I'm sorry, most people will say, they'll have an excuse. They're like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to find the people. I don't know how to meet new people. And then they just don't. And it's huge to be able to do that. One of the agents I interviewed in LA, he had been a movie or film agent, celebrity agent or whatever. And then he turned over to a real estate agent, and he would do open house every day and twice on Saturday and Sunday. It's an easy thing to do. Grab a sign, go sit at someone's open house and be there. Anyway, it's for any job, like you said, any business, any service, any industry you're in, you can replicate this so easily. That's why it's so easy to talk to a real estate agent, is because we do everything that other anyone in this, if whether you have a service product or brand, we have to meet people, we have to build relationships. It's so important.
Yeah.
And then beyond just meeting the new people, but fostering old relationships, I think that is so important. So I just wanted to point that out. So let's change hats on you, and let's go over to your
Okay.
leadership role. What makes a good leader, and did you have training to become a leader? And tell us a little bit about leadership at Keller Williams.
There's a lot of definitions for leadership out there. I define leadership pretty simply as having influence. And I think there's a lot of ways to build influence. I choose to build influence by getting to know the human behind everything. Like, success is, you can define success a lot of different ways. If you just look at someone's resume and you say, oh, that person's successful, you might be completely wrong, because they might, and I always make the joke, you might be making a ton of money, you might still have a shit life. Like, so is that success? I don't think it is. And so on the leadership side, I choose to create influence through a few things very specifically. I get to know the human and what actually motivates them. If I can help you, even if we don't do business together, or if we do business together for a while, if I can leave you in a place because you took the steps to get there that are better than where you are or were when we started, then cool, I've developed some influence with you. If along the way I'm helping you see things a little bit more clearly just by asking great questions and allowing you to discover those things and then take action on those things with support and accountability from me, I'm gaining influence with you. So training wise, yeah, I think it's important to go and be around people that you aspire to be like, that are great mentors or leaders. So it's why I spend about 10% of my time and 10% of my money. I got that from Grant Cardone, uh, on leadership development and training. Because,
Mm.
and as you can imagine, time stays static. I don't, 10% of time is always 10% of time. However, more money you make, the more you can invest in going into different rooms and being a different part of things. So going and becoming a John Maxwell International certified coach, that was one piece for me when I started making some money. Being around people like my partners in KW Advisors and my partner on the coaching and consulting business, those guys I look up to. And so to put myself around them has worn off on me. And I'm a listener. Right now I'm doing a lot of talking. However, typically I was in a car with my coaching consulting partner and my partner on the brokerage side today, because we all work together. And I probably spoke maybe 5% of the time, because those are two guys that I think are better than me in 90% of the things that I want to be good at. And so I ask a question, I just listen. Okay, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. So they have influence with me, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it to go create influence with others so I can help them and support them better. So I guess the short answer is leadership to me is creating influence. And that's my chosen path of doing that, is to help the person understand what they want more and then help them go get it. And then absolutely being around people that inspire me.
Yeah, that's so true. So let's talk about mentorship a little bit. I talk about mentorship and how important it is to have a mentor, and also an accountability partner. Do you personally have an accountability partner, or still have mentors that mentor you?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you can have mentors that you actually talk with and mentors that you don't. I
Right.
look at Tony Robbins as a mentor, even though I've never met the man in person. I've been in the same
Right.
stadium with him. I've never met him. So there's plenty of people I consider mentors. They might be mentors for a very short amount of time. Mel Robbins wrote the 5 second rule.
Uh-huh.
During the time I was reading her book, she was a mentor to me, because I was
Right.
following what she said and following the
Got
principles that she laid out. So that I consider that mentorship from afar. Absolutely, I have mentors, and they're sometimes for long periods of time, sometimes they're short. There's seasons of your life that you have them. And the beauty of that is that you can tap back into that at times when necessary too. So I think mentorship is extremely important. Accountability partners, I have a dozen. Uh, the way I run my life is because I want to be so purposeful in the time, and it's mainly because I have big aspirations in business. I'm not the president of multiple companies in real estate, and a co-founder of a coaching consulting company, and an owner of a big mobile home park investment firm and property management company because I like to work a lot. It's because I want to
it.
create things and help other people and myself and my family have future, great wealth currently and future. And I'm not doing that at the sacrifice of the things that matter most to me. So the accountability piece of it shows up with, how do we make the most out of this business and the time that we have within it so I can go and do the things that matter most to me. I don't want to be involved in those things 24 hours a day. I want to be involved in them just enough to do what I need to do to accomplish the goals that we've got as a team or a unit, as well as my personal goals, so I can go do the things that matter most, and that's time with my kids, time with my wife, time in the mountains and the hills, and personal things I enjoy. So the accountability is the number one thing that helps me do that. And our meetings are structured in such a way. We are going to do this. We have 30 minutes to do it, and we're going to assign what we need to do afterwards. And we're going to check in with each other through this system throughout the week so we can make sure we're heading in the right direction. So I can go back
Okay.
and do what I want to do.
How the heck do you manage all of those different hats? You wear so many different hats. I mean, people would be glad to do one of your jobs. So, be part of one of your companies. So, how are you staying organized? Do you have any apps or tools? But how do you do all of those at least five jobs that you're doing? How do
It's a
you
lot.
juggle that? Plus find time for your family and your children and your hobby. I mean, it's not a light hobby. It's not like you're going to put on some tennis shoes and go for a run. So how the heck? I'm sure everyone's asking, how is this man? Not only are you staying organized, you're always so calm and you're always so poised, like you're not doing anything.
That last part first, I also don't take myself very seriously. You know, I'm goofy. My partner on the coaching consulting side, we did a video yesterday promoting a workshop we're doing starting in October. And the first 30 seconds are him and me trying to figure out what the name of the workshop is. And I was like, that's who we are. Like we're not always super organized around things. The real answer though is two parts. It's the people I'm in business with, and yes, the leverage that I look for in systems or tools or people. So I'm a partnership guy. I realized this about 6 or 7 years ago. You know, I still had in the back of my mind, like, I got to go do this on my own. I got to build this thing on my own. And I realized that's not who I am. You know, I'm sure I've done some things on my own that are pretty fun and successful. At the same time, I crave partnership. And so finding the right person and complementing each other's strengths. I'll give you an example. On the mobile home park investment and property management companies, my partner, Mark, he runs the show. He does 90% of the work. And he knows that. I know that. I credit him for all of that. I came into the picture with him after being an investor with him to be a partner in the company because my strengths complement the things that he is not as good at. Without him, that business would not run. I came in with a little bit of speed and scale and maybe a little bit more business operational side of things. And so I was able to insert that in a very short amount of time. And then we just check in on it. So I'm not, when you hear five roles or five businesses, I'm not running the show all the time. I'm partnering with people who run it better than I do in a lot of ways. So I can stay in my strength zone. On the coaching consulting side, Brian and I, he's my partner in that, the number one mission we had outside of what we wanted to accomplish with and for people was not to create another job for ourselves. So we brought in two more partners, a marketing and operations partner who from the very beginning are rev share on that so they can take care of those things so we can focus on what we're good at, and that's coaching consulting. So my point is the people I'm in business with is the most important leverage piece because they're really good at something that I'm not. I'm very good at something that maybe they're not. And so those things combined make one whole person, even if it's four of us. As far as tools, my
Wow.
calendar and my unwillingness to let stupid shit on my calendar is the number one thing. Uh, I am ruthless when it comes to my calendar. At one point in my career, I had it time blocked 24 hours a day because
Wow.
if there's white space on and that had sleep on there, that had meals on there, it was
I
ridiculous.
know you have to add that. Those I skip
You
right through
do.
lunch half the time.
Uh,
Yeah.
I just, if there's white space on my calendar, I'm unproductive. There's white space on my calendar. I'm a nice person, I think. And if you ask me something, I will say yes because there's time on the calendar. So I started blocking it 24 hours a day. And the only thing that made it on there were things that were a yes to this following question, which is, does this need to be done? And do I need to be doing it? And if the
That's
answer is
fantastic.
yes, it goes on the calendar. If not, it does not. Someone else does it.
And do you have multiple assistants? Do you have one assistant? Do you have no assistant? I mean, even blocking calendars takes some time and effort.
It does.
Who's keeping you organized? Is there some little fairy helping you do all this?
I do use a couple of different systems that help me stay organized personally. So my calendar's number one. My personal life, I use an app called Todoist, and it's just a to-do list, basically. It's really fun and it's nice, easy to use. So all my personal stuff goes on there. It's got on there, I mean, medicine and vitamins. It's got on there, text my wife. It's got on things like water the yard, whatever. That's the
Okay.
personal life side. Uh, on the business side, I use ClickUp, CLICK up, ClickUp. And it's a project management app. It's great. My partner on the mobile home side uses it. I just got my partner on the brokerage side to look into it and use it today. I do use Claude to auto populate a lot of the things that go into those
Oh,
things. So any leverage I can find to just save me the way when I coach an agent or actually we coach across 12 different industries. And when we coach really anybody, it's always to look at one of my favorite exercises is doing a time audit. And it's one side of the piece of paper is what are the things I'm doing that are taking time and not putting me in front of opportunity. The other side is what is the stuff I'm doing that's taking time and putting me in front of opportunity. And you'll find that the stuff you're doing that isn't putting you in front of opportunity is really long, and the stuff that
mm,
you're doing for opportunities is really short. my
Yeah.
goal has been for over a decade is how do I shift 80 to 90+% of my time over in that second column? And everything on the other list, I will have someone or something do for me if I can afford it or find it. And so, as far as assistance, I have had full time in person assistance, and I will say that was the absolute best scenario I've had in my career. When I left that previous partnership, she didn't come with me, and that was fine. That was right for her. And so I went to a VA, and I've got a VA now. And going back to my column of things that take me time that don't necessarily put opportunity in front of people, I use that as a job description for him. And when I hired him, the number one thing was his name is Miko. I said, Miko, your number one job is to keep me out of my email. Debbie, I haven't logged into my
That's my
work.
next question. I hate email. I'm so behind now.
Uh,
So
I
yeah,
have my partner in KW would hate this. He's heard me say it before. However, I have not logged into my email in at least a couple of months because 3 times a day, Miko texts me what I need to know, and I tell him what to say, and he responds for me. And so that takes me about 8 minutes to 9 minutes per day versus 2 to 3 hours.
right.
That's the
So
type
true.
of stuff I'm looking for.
Yeah, that is crucial. I think I tried to use Claude to help me I think it was Claude, and then they auto respond, and then I have to go in and check it. But half the time now I don't see it come to
Fix
the
it.
top, and now I can't unfix it. And now I'm like, just it's become harder for me. And oh my God. And now I don't, yeah, now
It's
you gave me a whole list of how to unfix it or undo it. And oh my God.
yeah,
I
done
don't know.
table. Yeah. I looked at so he manages my calendar, he manages my email. It's again my modus operandi, if you will, is can I be in front of people? Can
Right.
I be in front of people today, speaking, teaching, training, coaching, partnering, whatever? Can I do that 80 to 90% of my time, or negotiating contracts, whatever that might be?
Right.
If I can be in that 80% of the time, I feel like I've had a successful day.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, the whole theme throughout this whole thing is just being in front of people, whether it's the people you're coaching or your clients and doing, or it's negotiating, but it's not the cleaning up the email from newsletters to everything else we get. So much stuff that we don't need, but it takes time even to delete the message. So that is so
Yep.
important. So you say, so you're in your primary business, I think, is real estate, but you said you just
Mhm.
coach. I heard you say you coach across different industries. What are those
Yeah.
different industries? Yeah, I didn't know that.
We've got clients in insurance, in powder coating, in automotive,
Oh, wow.
because what we coach to on the leadership and performance side is, I think, universal. And it goes back to some of the things we've talked about of if you're the business owner of an automotive company, repair shop, doesn't matter, whatever it is. First of all, why? Like, what do you love about it? What do you want from it? What is it that it's funding for you in your world? Like in our brokerage model, the Brian and I, he's our coach consultant for the brokerage model. I'm the president. So I actually contracted with him and then we became partners in something else. And I believe him so much that in a lot of brokerage models, it's who's most important. It's the agent that you're going after. And in some, it's the agents you got. And in very few, it's the core staff and leadership. Like they
Mhm.
say it is, and yet when you look at how the business operates, it's not. And so putting the core people at the actual core is one of the places we start, and that could be universal. So the automotive, okay, you're the owner of the shop. Great. What do you want? Who are you? What do you want? Let's go figure that out first, because then everything beyond that gets lined up to serve that while you're serving them. So the the models we use, the frameworks we use, I think are universal, and it's not even
Right.
in business. I've used them with my kid. My kid's he just passed his test to be a junior black belt in karate.
Oh,
I've
wow.
used these models with him because it helps him self discover first and foremost what he really wants. He had a big decision to make. His name's Jack. His brother's Max. So this is Jack. He loves baseball. I introduced him to baseball a few years ago, a couple years ago. We're Dodgers fans. My whole family's from LA. I took him to his first game, and it happened to be a World Series game, and he just fell in love, and
Oh,
he's wanted to play baseball. However, he's been going on this track for black belt and karate for quite some time. And so the models that we use with business operators or leaders or whomever, I was able to use the same model with my son. And by the end of the conversation, he had made a decision that was true to his heart and true to who he is and what he wants right now at 11 years old. And then
oh,
just got out of the way. Great. And by the way, it was tough because I'm dad and I'm projecting. I really want him to play baseball. I you have to be quiet. It's nope, let
Right.
him discover through this process. And so that's why I think these models are so critical in the way we coach and consult. They can be used in any scenario whatsoever, anywhere.
That's awesome. Well, that's in my book, Mindset in Motion. I have the Mindset in Motion method, and it's 5 steps, the 5 step framework. And the same, you can put that into personal, professional goal, overcoming an addiction, going through a divorce, the empty
Yeah.
nest, and relocate, whatever it is you're going through. So, what is your model? Can you give us a highlight of what your model is?
Yeah, the I won't go all through all of them. However, there are
Yeah.
6 primary models we use, and one is called GROW, GROW. I actually kind of laid it out earlier without saying it. What is their goal? And then digging really deep into that. I mean, how many times have you talked to somebody where they gave you a goal and in the back of your mind, you're going, that doesn't sound like an actual goal. It sounds like something
So,
they think sounds good.
right, they grabbed
But
it out of the air.
yeah, yeah, and you can even on the why side, like, what's your big why? And I remember I was in front of a group of around 60, and my partner was at the back of the room facing me, and I'm facing everybody else. And he asked me this question of, "What's your big why?" And I lay it out for him, and he pauses and he looks at me, and everybody's kind of like, "What's he going to say?" And his response to me was, "That sounds like something you wrote for the back of a book jacket." And I go, "Okay." And it was super well laid out. I had articulated it well. I had written it out multiple times. It was something along the lines of, I don't to provide emotional, physical, and financial support for my family while leaving a legacy to my sons. But blah, 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 blah. And he goes, dude, that there's no emotion behind that whatsoever. There's truth behind it. There's not emotion behind it.
Right,
And when he started asking me, like, pepper me with questions, and this goes back to the G of the grow model, he started peppering me with questions. I was like, it finally the emotion just shot out of me, and I cried in
yeah,
front of 60 people that I led, and I didn't want to, and it's okay, I do it all the time. And it was, I just want to make myself and my family proud because
mm,
I was coming off the tail end of not doing that. And I needed
right,
to prove something to myself and to my family. And then he said, that's it. And that fueled me for years. So back to the G of the grow model, it's really understanding what does that goal mean to them? What's important about it? Getting to the granular level of, okay, now I understand the motivating factor behind it. Now we can use it. And then the
right,
R is your reality. Where are you right now in relation to what you want? Oh, obstacles. What's standing in your way? What's been standing in your way? What could stand in your way? And the W is what will you do about it? What's your way forward? That
I
is
love
that is the foundational model. Everything else I think really builds off of that.
right.
Because once I understand that, once you understand that, then all the other things can be lined up to get the skill set development, to get the mindset, improved, whatever it might be. That one feeds everything else.
I think that is so good what you just said. That the I mean, I everything I do, I'm so passionate about, but you forget not everyone has that passion as you do, and the one of the things to be successful in any business, I think, especially you look at, real estate, of course, if you're not passionate about it, it's not going to happen because you work at it. It doesn't just come out of the sky. You have to work and you have to want to talk to people and you have to be passionate. And I think that is so key, and I'm thinking about all the people I've met along the way who wanna become, real estate agents, and they come in and then they peter out after a month, 2 months, a year, and you're like, "Where have you been? You came in, you were all excited, then all of a sudden, you got your license, you got your signs, you joined all the things you were supposed to join, and then it just like, boom, it's like, "Where'd you guys go?" So they just I think that is the key is are you really passionate about this? And then oh, there was something else that hit me too after the passion, but they and you have to whatever. Oh, I was going to say, and founders, obviously, people who are working all night long through the night, not sleeping. These founders of these companies that are hardly being paid, but they're so passionate about what they're doing, their app or their platform. Clearly, they have passion for that. So that is key. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. So I always like to end the segment with what would you tell your 25-year-old self? I was very didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 25. And so I always talk to my 25-year-old self when I'm listening to all of my wonderful guests sharing their insight and their trajectory. So what would you tell your 25-year-old self?
I've thought about that question quite a bit, and I think the answer today, because it's changed over time as well, I think the answer today would be don't do anything different. And I know that
Mm,
sounds so weird because people are like, oh, I give this advice. If I knew this then that I know
yes.
now. And you know what? No, I don't think I would because the shit I did, the stupid things I went through, the problems I created, the love I had, the things I was able to accomplish, whatever, are all parts of who I am today. And I'm very happy with who I am today. So to go back and change anything at 25 would
Yeah.
mean today I'm not the same person. Maybe I'd still be happy with that person. I love
Right.
who I am. I love what I'm doing, and I love the people I'm
Yeah.
surrounded with. So I don't know that I would change a thing.
I
I might not
actually
go to jail as
don't.
many times.
Yeah.
Or
Jail. Okay, we didn't talk about that one.
it was just one
No,
nighters. It was no big deal.
I would have to agree with that because if we hadn't gone through what we did, we wouldn't be who we are today. And we've been working on this person. You've been working on you. I've been working on me to get here. And if we didn't go through what we went through, we wouldn't be here the way we are today. So I agree with you on that. I love that. Thank you so much, Mike Putnam. This was wonderful. I look forward to speaking with you soon. And I have a question for you. Are you going to be in Las Vegas? I'll be speaking at someone's house for Keller Williams in the end of September.
I'm not invited, and now I am.
Well,
So maybe.
you're invited. I'm inviting you, and I will send you a text with the details.
I love it. If I can't make it, I'm sure you're going to kill it. I would love to see you there, though.
All right, I'd love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you,
episode.
Debbie. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.